Today, we're going to talk about 5 easy ways to heal your mind after a tough week. Some weeks are harder than others, and your normal practices just aren't enough. So, here are some extra ways to heal your mind when normal practices just aren't enough. The first is to take a look at the theory of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The basic premise is that everyone wants to be the best version of themselves that they can. But this self-actualization can't be realized until more basic needs are met. This concept is a pyramid, with basic needs being at the bottom as your foundation. These include food, water, breathing, and the homeostasis of the body. So, before you can feel your best, you first need to make sure you've had proper food, rest, and water. Even good temperature and blood sugar need to be focused on before continuing. So after a tough week, make sure you have enough sleep, a good meal, and plenty of fluids. You will be surprised how that alone can change your mindset. The second way to heal your mind is to write a gratitude list. By listing the things and people you are grateful for, you can further boost the positive thinking mindset that you've been working on. Try for a minimum of 5 things on stressful days, and take it seriously. It may be hard at the moment to find something positive, but if you sit and put effort into it, you can find things you're grateful for. The third practice is to take quiet time. This is something you're already doing, but in busy weeks this can slip to the bottom. When everything needs to be done right now, and you have a job, pets, and people all needing your attention right now, that quiet time can seem like a future dream. After a particularly tough week, make sure you take time to yourself. Go on a long walk by yourself and find a quiet, peaceful place to sit. Leave your phone behind and find a peaceful place to read a good book. Meditate or practice yoga. If you have a physical job, try to take some time to rest and relax. But if you sit in an office all day, stretch your muscles while enjoying your quiet time. The fourth suggestion is to find a support group. An official support group with weekly meetings is great, but it's not for everyone. Just having a few close friends that you can share your bad days with, and they can help provide support, is so important. Even just a group that lets your mind take a break from daily struggles is great, such as a book club or a church group. Finally, the 5th easy way to heal your mind after a tough week is to do nothing. Often we feel that even on our off days, we need to be productive. If we aren't at work, we need to be cleaning, learning, or doing something for a side business. We never really get a break unless we plan for it. If you want to lay in bed and not move, do it. If you want to mindlessly scroll through social media or play some silly game on your phone, spend some time doing that. Allow your mind to shut off and just do nothing for a while. Often, when overwhelmed, you'll find yourself doing mindless tasks and later dwelling guilt for doing them. Instead, schedule a time to do these tasks, so that way you won't feel guilty later, and your brain can take a break. It needs it as much as your body does. 5 signs your physical and mental beings are disconnected. Today, we're focusing on mental and physical health. Being whole involves your physical, mental, and spiritual health staying in balance. But sometimes it isn't easy to tell when one is slipping. It can be especially hard to tell when your mental and physical selves are disjoined. It's often easy to tell when something is wrong physically. Sometimes you let yourself slip and not go to the gym, or perhaps you let yourself have more drinks than normal and are feeling the headache now. However, mental health is sometimes harder to tell, and it may seem like your physical health is declining despite keeping up your regular practices. When this happens, you may increase the steps that you were taking for physical health to the extreme, such as limiting your food or exercising to the point of harm. Instead, you should often be turning to your mental health during these times, as they are often the culprit. Mental and physical health are so interconnected, it can be hard to tell when they aren't working together. So I've made a list of 5 signs to look out for when you feel that something might be a little wrong. The first is a lowered immune system. If you're eating healthy, exercising, getting enough sun, but often find yourself sick or feeling poorly, it's likely to be an issue on your mental health side. When you're constantly stressed, your body is unable to keep the immune system working right. It doesn't matter how many vitamins you're taking. This is one of the easiest signs that something is wrong with your mental and physical beings. If you're sick, in pain, or tired despite doing a lot correctly in the physical sense, you're likely not paying enough attention to your mental well-being. A second sign is weight gain. Unless you're making an effort to gain weight, with proper diet and exercise, you shouldn't be gaining weight. If you're gaining weight and see no reason why you should be, then it's likely another sign that you're not taking care of the mental issues. When you're stressed, anxious, or depressed, your body will retain water and fat and increase your weight, even if you're eating at or below calorie goals. My third sign is if you are craving unhealthy foods more than normal. Unhealthy foods are usually a sign that something is wrong. Often this means you're trying to fill a void with food instead of acknowledging what the problem is and attempting to solve it. If you find yourself wanting a lot of junk food compared to normal, try to reflect and figure out what you're missing and what you can do to fix that problem rather than just ignoring the issue and eating for a temporary fix. The fourth sign is one to show you that your physical health is lacking. If you find yourself working hard on your mental health through meditation and mindfulness, but struggle to push through a brain fog daily, you may not be treating your body right. Often, you may need more sleep or better food. The fifth sign also focuses on lower physical health. Perhaps you used to enjoy certain things like drawing, writing, or even listening to a really good podcast. If you still want to enjoy these but are struggling to do so and you're working on your mental health, you might not be eating properly. Sleep is important for enjoyment too. If you're not eating, sleeping, or drinking properly, you may find yourself not enjoying life as much as you used to. 5 simple practices to master your physical, mental, and spiritual health. This time, we're going to give you some simple practices to become the master of your mental, physical, and spiritual health. These should be simple and easy so that you can do them anywhere and at any point in your busy schedule. We will first talk about meditation. I've mentioned this several times in different presentations, and I can't stress enough how important this is. Meditation allows you to reduce your mental stress, take time for yourself, and just feel in the moment. It's easy to get caught up in the little things and everything that you have to get done. But taking 10 to 15 minutes to get in touch with your body, focus on your breathing, and think positive thoughts can help, and not just your mental health. By reducing stress and anxiety, you can also improve your physical health and feel more in tune with your spirituality. It's easy to doubt your spirituality if you're stressed and feel overwhelmed, so it's important to take time to reinforce your beliefs. The second practice is to always continue to learn. You may be over the age when you have to go to school or have realized that a traditional learning environment just isn't for you. However, that doesn't mean that you have to give up on learning. Studies show that continuously learning throughout your life is an important way to maintain your mental processes. It doesn't have to be subjects like algebra or biology either. Things that you find interesting, such as your favorite bird, a flower outside your home, or even a new cooking recipe, can all count as learning. However, you can also learn about yourself. Learning more about your body, your spirituality, and steps to improve your physical health are all considered learning as well. Just make sure you're always trying to learn something new and don't get complacent with what you know. The third is to pray or stay in touch with your spirituality, however that works for you. For some, praying is a way to stay closer to their religion, to feel connected and heard. For others, taking a walk in the woods and feeling the surrounding earth heightens their spirituality. Whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. However, don't let those moments of connection get pushed aside due to a busy schedule. That brings us to our fourth practice. Follow a routine. Regular exercise, a healthy diet, and times for meditation and spiritual practices are all important. Keeping to a similar schedule is a great way to keep up with everything and not let practices get pushed to the wayside. Keeping a schedule can also help reduce stress. If most of your days are the same, you don't have to worry about trying to remember something or fitting it in later. You and your body know what is expected of you. There's a sort of peace to having everything fit into place in your life as well, kind of like when you're restocking and organising videos online. My fifth practice and advice for you is to be part of a community. For those on the more religious side, this could be a church or a weekly meeting with your peers. Perhaps you're part of a book club or a knitting circle, as long as you're in a place where you feel safe and happy and are part of a group. This gives you support when you're feeling alone or helpless and improves your mental health. They can also keep you focused on your goals and help to prevent you from letting certain practices slip by, keeping you accountable. Those are the 5 simple practices that you can use to master your physical, mental and spiritual health. None of them will take you a long time and can easily be slipped in anywhere in your day. 5 tips to heal past trauma and become whole. Today, we're going to be discussing trauma. Trauma can come at any point in our lives and harm us in ways beyond what we understand. Sometimes we might not even realize the full extent of the trauma we faced and only feel the repercussions of it. Other times we push away the trauma, telling ourselves that people have had it worse and handled it much better than we do. At some point, we have to accept that what we face is trauma and that it's hampering our lives and growth. But how do we heal from these traumas, especially ones we have denied for so long? In this presentation, we will be discussing 5 tips to heal your past trauma to better become whole. First, we must accept our trauma. We have to accept that what has happened has harmed us, and it doesn't matter if someone has faced worse. People have been in both better and worse places than you, and that's just a fact of life. Just because someone has faced worse doesn't make your pain any less valid. It doesn't make you weak. The process of learning to forgive yourself and heal makes you so much stronger than those people who try to ignore or quietly shoulder the burden. By acknowledging that something is wrong, you're making the first step towards healing. Second, you need to learn to accept support and help when it's offered. Too many times we try to shoulder our worries and burdens alone, but there are often people around who want to help. Family, friends, co-workers, or people in the same club as you are often all offering help in their way. Accepting support when you feel overwhelmed is another step towards progress. You're acknowledging that something is wrong and that you aren't able to do it alone. This isn't a weakness. Humans are social creatures and naturally lean on others for support. Don't let your fear or ego hold you back from healing. Even if someone is just offering you tea, a shoulder to cry on, or a sympathetic ear, don't turn it down. A third tip is to take breaks. You don't have to constantly be on the path towards healing. You don't always have to be making progress. This will cause you to slow and sometimes even go backwards. Take breaks from your path. Enjoy life. Find good moments. Enjoy a good book. Do things that make you happy as a reward for making progress, or just take a moment to breathe. Trauma isn't something easy to get over, and you aren't going to get it all done in a day. Acknowledge the patience that you will have to have for yourself, and remember that your mind and body both need a rest sometimes. A fourth tip is to practice self-care. This means taking times to stretch, meditate, and take care of your body. Eating healthily is important. During high-stress times, you may want to drink, eat a lot of junk food, or crave something sweet. These treats are good in moderation, but remember that you need to be healthy to feel good. My fifth and final tip is to be creative. Perhaps you like to draw, sing, write, or even colour. By being creative, you open yourself up to letting out your emotions in a healthy way. Creativity can also provide you with a healthy way to work through your trauma. It doesn't have to be anything perfect. It honestly doesn't even have to be anything good. If you want to start slow, write your emotions and thoughts in a journal and decorate it with stickers. Your creativity is another part of your being that is harmed during trauma, so let it grow and it will help you heal. Being whole starts with you. Today, we're going to be talking about how to be whole. Specifically, how being whole starts with you. We've discussed this a bit in our previous talks, but I want to go over it a little bit more in detail. So let's start with a recap. When most people talk about being whole, we find it is usually associated with being with another person. When you find your significant other, you feel whole. If something goes wrong with your relationship, you feel like only part of a person. However, that isn't really what makes a person whole. It can be a part of it. But what makes someone whole is what's inside of them. Being whole means believing in yourself and being your true self. We've also discussed that intuition is key to being whole, as you learn to listen to your instinct and your body to identify any issues. But how do we start with being whole? Instead of looking for something from others to make us whole, we have to first focus on ourselves. Well, how do we do that? We must first better our intuition. To do this, we must increase our awareness of our bodies and our thoughts. Learning to listen to yourself is the key to increasing your intuition. Throughout daily life, many of us push away our gut feelings, opinions, or what our body is saying to us. It can take a while, but we must learn to nurture these feelings again and not push them away. This can be hard to do if we don't first improve our relationship with ourselves. If we don't trust or believe in ourselves, we can't nurture our intuition. You must learn to accept yourself. This takes a lot of love and patience, and it will be difficult, but it is the first thing you have to do to become whole. As with anyone, you must forgive yourself before you can grow. Learn to forgive yourself for the mistakes you made and the times you let your fear or ego block your growth. Thank yourself for the times you've been bold, adventurous, or did something you wanted to do. Once you've learned to forgive yourself, you can fully open your heart up to loving yourself. Appreciate your body and mind for what they've done to get you this far, and that they are always working their hardest. You are your own harshest critic. If you're willing to forgive others and treat them with compassion and kindness, you must also be willing to treat yourself in the same way. Realize that a lot of the fighting you're doing, not to face criticism, to do better, to work harder and so on, is you fighting with yourself. We're constantly beating ourselves up and are often assuming that other people are thinking about us in the same way. What we don't realize is that everyone is facing these inner thoughts and are often so consumed by them that they don't have time to criticize others. Those that are generally are trying to avoid their inner thoughts and focus on others instead. So, learn to love yourself, but acknowledge that this will take time and energy. You'll need a lot of patience, but once you learn to forgive yourself for your past mistakes and focus on your present self, you can realize that you are whole. No one can make you anything more or less than what you already are. No one else can fill in the spaces of your mind that you're missing in order to make you better. You have to learn to fill in those cracks yourself. Intuition is key to being whole. Intuition is defined as obtaining direct knowledge without evident rational thought. It is considered fundamental to spiritual experiences. Believing that there is an all-powerful entity that rules people and the universe takes intuition. If you have no intuition, it can be hard to have proper spiritual health. However, intuition is important for more than just spiritual health. If you listen to your body and its needs, it might even help you stay physically healthy. Many people can intuitively tell when something is wrong with their bodies if they listen. It's taking the time to listen that many people overlook. By listening to your body often, you can learn to tell when something is wrong. There have been many stories out there of people who felt they were internally bleeding despite there being no obvious signs. Other times, someone has pushed over and over again for a doctor to check for an injury or tumour despite the doctor finding nothing wrong during precautionary checks. Knowing something is wrong with your body can catch life-threatening issues early. Not all situations are life-threatening though. Sometimes, intuition can just help you to practice healthier habits. Listening to your body and learning the difference between what your body needs and what it wants can help you make better choices when it comes to food and drinks, as well as anything else that you might put into your body. This can help good habits and make you feel better about yourself. If you eat, drink and exercise when you need to, you'll feel better about your body and choices. Intuition can also allow you to reduce stress. If you listen to your body and intuition, you know that there is nothing to be worried about and things will work out as they should. Not everyone can connect to their intuition anymore. With the fast-paced, loud world around us, it can be easy for this inherent knowledge to become so muted that you can't hear it, even when you try to listen. Being in an unhealthy place mentally, physically, or spiritually can also muffle that inner part of you that knows when something is wrong. Thankfully, there are a few practices you can do to grow that intuition again. The first is physical activity. It's important to do regular exercise. This doesn't have to be miles and miles of running until you can't move anymore. Yoga, walking, tai chi, and even deep house cleaning can all be a step towards increasing your physical activity. By exercising, you improve brain function, increase beneficial hormones while also decreasing bad ones, and improve circulation. This allows for your brain to fully connect with your body and not be overshadowed by things like brain fog. The next is mindfulness and quiet time. Taking time to meditate is very important. If you're short on time, activities such as yoga and tai chi combine the two practices. With everything happening in the world being reported in real time, it can be hard to find an actual moment that is quiet. Learning to take moments to yourself and be quiet can greatly increase your intuition and your ability to listen when your body or mind says something is wrong. Positive thoughts are also important. You want to focus on thoughts that positively benefit your life. If you get stuck in bad thoughts or negative emotions, your intuition may be clouded or overwhelmed by these thoughts. Your intuition is important and is key to keeping you whole by improving your spiritual, mental, and physical health. So, work on listening to your body. Intuitive eating for physical, mental, and spiritual health. Intuitive eating is something not everyone may have heard about, so I'll start with the definition. Intuitive eating is essentially the opposite of dieting. Most people work hard to stay or become skinny, often barely eating or exercising past healthy levels. Intuitive eating rejects this diet culture and instead focuses on people's relationships with food. This may mean that you're eating without losing a pound, but you're fixing your relationship with food and therefore with your mind and body. Diet culture is inherently bad for your mental, spiritual, and physical health. You're ignoring your body and mind when it says it's hungry, and instead trying to tell it what it should feel. Often dieting comes with a harmful self-image as well, as you want to be skinnier and better looking. You don't enjoy the way you look, and this can create a rift between your mind and body. Often, if you're eating in an unhealthy manner, you are ignoring or depleting your energy. Then optimism fades, which can harm your spirituality, no matter what it is. By intuitive eating, we learn to listen to our bodies. We eat when we're hungry. We don't starve ourselves to hit a certain weight on the scale, and we don't overeat to finish off a plate or because we're bored or upset. Don't eat based on a certain schedule or because you feel you have to. If you're hungry at 6 in the morning, eat. If you aren't hungry until 10, wait till then. Generally, most people recommend rating your hunger on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're at 7, it's time to eat. Waiting until you are at 10 will cause you to overeat, while being at a 5 may just mean that you're bored or upset. This is a way to nurture your intuition more, which we've talked about as being key to being whole. Learning to eat when you're hungry depends on you listening to your body and mind. Don't ban certain foods, unless there are health reasons, of course, to be healthy. By not allowing yourself to eat specific foods, you often increase your desire to have them. And when you do give in, and you will, you'll eat more than you would have if you'd just eaten the food in the first place. Like your progress of being whole, intuitive eating requires a lot of patience, compassion, and kindness. Issues with overeating often come from past experiences or traumas and need to be worked on, as with any part of that. If you have nightmares from past experiences, you don't blame yourself for having them. You just accept it as part of the process and reward yourself as you get better. Non-intuitive eating stems from the same trauma, but people aren't often as patient with themselves over food as they would be for other symptoms. It is just as important, so give yourself the time it will require to fix. There are a lot of stigmas surrounding diets, food and food-related health that cause us to become more critical of this step than of other parts of our progress, but it isn't any different. We eat in the same way we pick harmful health practices or negative thoughts. It's often something we do automatically and without intent to harm ourselves. This is just another step towards healing. It involves acknowledging your harmful self-image and trying to fill the void you feel with food. If you can master intuitive eating, you're making another step towards physical, mental and spiritual wholeness, and a pretty big one at that. For this presentation, we will be discussing the importance of your mental health on your body. It's pretty obvious that your mental health depends on your body. If you aren't happy with the way your body looks, you'll often be more self-conscious and insecure. There are also plenty of studies that show exercise not only tones your body, but reduces brain fog and improves memory and clarity. However, what most people overlook is that your mental health also affects your body. I don't just mean that if you don't feel up to exercising, you aren't going to burn as much fat, though that is a big part of it too. What I mean is that there have also been studies that show that the more stressed you are, the more likely you are to catch a cold, the flu, or even COVID in these current times. So it's important to take care of your mind and your body in equal parts. Let's discuss what taking care of your mind to take care of your body looks like. With so much to think about all the time, like bills, insurance, salary and family, it can be hard not to feel overwhelmed or stressed out most of the time. Most people report feeling anxious for at least some part of their life. Stress and fear both create a fight or flight response in the body, which leads to increases in hormones such as cortisol or adrenaline. These are important at certain times, but when they're always being released in large amounts, it leads to a hormonal imbalance. These hormones can increase your resting heart rate above what is recommended, which can lead to heart problems. Inflammation can also occur in the body, leading to aches and pains as well as improper circulation. Even digestive issues can occur. Irritable bowel syndrome is one of those symptoms that can occur when your mental health is in poor condition. People also tend to drift to higher levels of substance abuse when they're stressed, depressed, or anxious. So as you can tell, declining mental health can impact almost every part of your body, from your immune system to your stomach. This is why keeping mental and physical health in good quality is so important. So, what are some steps that you can take to improve your mental health? Funnily enough, it starts with your physical health. As I mentioned at the beginning, exercise can help to clear your mind and improve your memory. Keeping active is key, even if it's just a few times a week. Meditation and mindfulness are two other important parts of handling mental health. Being able to clear your mind and reduce stress and anxiety are also important. It doesn't help much to exercise if you're worried about all the bills you have to pay while doing it. There are times to stress, and there are times to let it go. Taking time to meditate and focus on breathing can help. They can also allow you to focus on the positive and to bring those thoughts to the forefront rather than dwelling in stress and anxiety on things you can't change right now. Sometimes finding other ways to reduce stress, such as playing with a family pet, spending time in nature, getting enough sunlight, or even keeping a journal may work well. It's about taking the time to learn about your mental health and what works for you. When you go to the gym or exercise, you make the effort to find something that you enjoy or that seems to feel best for your body. It's important to do the same for your mind. During this presentation, I'm going to focus on the discussion of the relationship between spirituality and health. At first, there may not seem to be a connection between the two. But spirituality can greatly impact your health, especially mental health, in both positive and negative ways. Spirituality, until more modern times, has always been linked with healing. Until doctors became a common thing, people will go to their religious leaders for healing with ailments and injuries. It makes sense that even in today's more technological and cold society, religion still plays a large part in our healing processes. One of the most common ways spirituality benefits someone is via praying. Praying is essentially meditation, and there are many benefits to meditation, such as lower blood pressure and stress levels. Stress can not only affect your mental health, but your physical health as well. Studies have shown that people that are frequently stressed or have higher stress levels over a long period of time tend to have a lower immune system. This means that by praying, you are reducing your risk of catching a cold, flu, or even COVID, and you're feeling better during the day. Those that are more religious tend to do better when handling large health issues such as cancer or a chronic illness. They tend to take the situation as a challenge to prove their faith, rather than a random, unfortunate accident. It gives people a drive to keep pushing forward even during difficult situations where other people might give up. This continues to remain true in the face of death. When someone dies, their loved ones all handle the grieving process differently. Those who believe in an afterlife, rebirth, or a better place after death tend to handle the grief better, as they have a positive mindset of life after death and feel that their loved one is in a better place or that they will see them again someday. Community is also another positive aspect of spirituality. When you're in a loving and supportive group that shares similar beliefs, each member is always looking out for the other. If you fall ill, people may bring you food, watch your kids, and even keep you in their thoughts and prayers. This can help reduce the stress that comes with trying to get everything done while sick. You can focus on getting better and recover faster. However, spirituality and health don't always go hand in hand. Depending on the religion, sometimes it may be seen as bad to accept certain medical practices. One great example is Jehovah's Witnesses. Many who are part of this religious organization believe that taking blood transfusions goes against God's will, even if it's their own blood. This means that in certain life-threatening situations, these people must choose between their religion and their life. If they do take the blood, they may be cast out of their community. Depending on the community you're in, spirituality can play a positive or negative role on mental and physical health. If you are part of a group that may not have your best interests in mind, or may even not work with your lifestyle, you may experience negative health consequences. The converse is also true. Focusing on spirituality that fits your beliefs and needs, and has a community that you find enjoyment in meeting, is important to boost your mental health and reduce stress. Spirituality is very important, but so is your health. You must find a good balance between the two. If you can find that balance, you'll find that your spirituality and your health can work together to improve your life through synergy. However, if they don't work together, you can find that your mental health can decrease dramatically while also finding yourself doubting your spirituality. This time, I'll be talking about being whole and what it means. We hear phrases like this a lot. In romantic movies, people tend to feel whole when they meet their true love. People also say they lost a part of themselves when they go through a divorce or separation as well. Despite these common uses, being whole has more to do with yourself than with other people. In fact, the definition of whole is a thing that is complete in and of itself. Therefore, you can feel whole without being dependent on someone else to fill in any missing parts. This is not always easy to accept. From early on in our lives, we're taught that other people influence our wholeness and that other people's opinions and expectations of us are very important. Some of us may even struggle to accept love due to our individual issues. We spend our days trying so hard to be perfect that we actually lose some of ourselves in the process. So what does it mean to be whole if it doesn't depend on anyone else? To be whole means to be ourselves and to believe in oneself. You don't feel the need to change anything about yourself or hide your passions to fit in. You don't believe that you're too full of problems to be loved and instead realize that no one is perfect. The biggest factor in being whole is being healthy, not just physically healthy, but mentally and spiritually as well. If we're lacking in spirituality, or have poor mental health due to anxiety or stress, we will struggle with being whole. Anger, worries, and fears that we hold on to are things that can cause us to lose some of our wholeness. With everything we try to carry and every hidden burden that we bear, we have to drop a part of ourselves in order to carry it. I've said it with almost every episode I've done, and I'll say it again. Meditation is so important. It allows you to look into yourself and find what you are missing to make yourself whole. You can focus on positive thoughts and put down some of your stresses and worries. Eating healthy is another great way to be whole, and is a great sign that we are in the process of being our best selves. When people eat too much and focus on unhealthy foods like sugar in abundance, it is usually a sign that they are trying to fill in something that is missing with food. Substance abuse is another great example of this. When people aren't whole, they will turn to harmful practices in the hope of filling the void. So, by being able to avoid temptations and practice mindful habits, you can show that you are not missing any part of yourself that needs a temporary fix. When you finally feel whole, you will feel fulfilled and complete. People who often describe themselves as a shell or a ghost of a person are people who are missing a lot of themselves and are far away from feeling whole. To be complete, you have to find a balance between your mental, physical, and spiritual self. If even one of these is slipping, it can make you feel like everything is falling apart. You can't focus only on spirituality and hope that the rest will follow, or exercise until you can't walk and hope that your mental health improves as well. Each piece must be nurtured with care and patience to become the best self you can be, and to really, truly be whole.